Good evening, councillors, staff, ladies and gentlemen. I declare this briefing session open at 6:30 p.m. The proceedings of the briefing session are electronically recorded in accordance with the council's recording and live streaming of council meetings, council policy, except for matters of a confidential nature. The guide in determining those matters of a confidential nature shall be in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995. Please note, briefing sessions are audio recorded and audio live streamed only in accordance with the council's policy. Recordings will also be made available on the city's website following the meeting. The official record of the meeting will be the written minutes kept in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995 and any relevant regulations. Members of the public gallery are reminded it is a requirement under the Meeting Procedures Local Law 2013 to act in a courteous and respectful manner when you're in the chamber. You're asked to show respect to anyone who is exercising their right to ask questions of the council and/or deliver public statements. I ask that respect extend to such people whenever they are on city premises while waiting for or having taken their opportunity to ask questions or deliver public statements. Under the local law, a person must not create a disturbance by interrupting or interfering with the orderly conduct of proceedings. This includes expressing approval or dissent by conversing or by any other means. Using personal electronic recording devices to record anyone or the meeting is also prohibited under the city's local law. I would also like to remind members of the public to show proper respect to the city's elected members and staff during these proceedings. The next item of business is declarations of interest. I've received one declaration in writing so far, which is from Councillor John Chester. It's an interest that may affect impartiality for item 11.2. It's that Councillor Chester has been involved in the creation of the petition. Are there any other councillors who are wishing to declare an interest for tonight's meeting? Thank you. That then moves us to deputations. There are no deputation requests which were approved for tonight's briefing session. That brings us to public question time. I've received written public questions from 2 members of the public, and there's been written copies of those answers which have been circulated in the foyer. There is a set of procedures relating to public question time, and I request that you follow my direction at all times. You have the opportunity to ask 2 questions, and your question should be directed to myself as chair and be polite and respectful in manner. Questions asked at a briefing session must relate to a report listed on the briefing session agenda. Is there anyone from the public gallery who wishes to ask a question? Thank you. Ms. Kwok, would you like to come forward? And if you could state your name and address for the public record as usual.
Yes, Michelle Kwok, 15 Crawford Law, Ocean Reef. Questions relating to the question I sent in, question 4, civic legal, $141,703.22 for investigation of active misconduct investigations. How many cases are this amount for?
Thank you, Ms. Kwok. I'll go to the temporary CEO if you could answer the question.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm not at liberty to be able to provide that information.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Kwok. Do you have a second question?
Yes, from the payment list, WA electoral commission payment, 725,000. Is that for the October election?
Thank you, Ms. Kwok. We'll go to Director Humphrey.
Thank you for the question. Responding to you, Mr. Mayor, I will have to take that one on notice. It seems... Sorry, the Manager of Governance may be able to provide more detail.
Thank you. We'll go to the Manager or Director of Governance.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, that payment is for the 2025 election.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Kwok, to add a small amount of context to the answer to your first question, under the Corruption, Crime and Misconduct Act, it's not permissible for a local government to disclose matters relating to any active investigations of misconduct.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Is there anybody else from the public gallery who wishes to ask a question? Mr. Sideris.
Thank you. Mr. Sedaris, 12 Page Drive, Mullaloo. And it refers to, questions tonight relate to item 12.6, the confidential item dealing with Axiom. I'm a bit confused because based on the answers given to the written questions, it appears that this is some parts of, the tender and its negotiation details are complete, and yet the city is claiming or is referring to sections of the Act that relate to details pertaining to a tender. Can you please explain why those confidential clauses are used when the tender has been stated as being completed and discussions have been completed and the contract has been awarded?
Thank you, Mr. Sedaris. We'll go to the temporary CEO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you, the tender had two separable portions, Phase 1 and Phase 2. The report in front of Council is the contractual arrangements for Phase 2, and as such, those provisions still apply, Mr. Sedaris.
Mr. Sedaris, do you have a second question?
Sorry, I missed the last part of that. My hearing's not that crash like, you might have to just talk a little louder.
Yep, that's right. Mr. Carson?
Happy to repeat my response through you, Mr. Mayor. As I've indicated, the tender has got two phases. The report for consideration by Council is for Phase 2, which still includes the tender pricing and negotiations regarding that.
Mr. Sedaris, do you have a second question?
Seeing you've stated that the Phase 1 is complete, in the public interest, will you now make that documentation and information publicly available in the public interest?
Thank you, Mr. Sedaris. Mr. CEO.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, at this stage, we are not in a position to make that available. That's not to say that in future it cannot be made available, but at this stage we are not in a position to make that available.
I wish I had another question available. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sedaris. Is there anybody else from the public gallery wishing to ask a question? If not, I declare public question time closed. We then move to public statement time. There's a set of procedures relating to public statement time, and I request that you follow my direction at all times. You are able to make a statement for up to 2 minutes, and your statement should be directed to myself as chair and be polite and respectful. No questions or discussions will occur at the end of the statement. Statements made in the briefing session must relate to a report listed on the briefing session agenda. Is there anybody from the public gallery wishing to make a public statement? No. In that case, I declare public statement time closed. The next item is apologies and leaves of absence. I've received one apology for tonight's meeting, which is from Councillor Vinciulo, and Councillor O'Neill is on an approved leave of absence. Are there any elected members seeking a leave of absence at the council meeting? No, thank you. The next item is confirmation of minutes, which will be dealt with at the ordinary meeting held on the 21st of April, as will be announcements by the presiding member without discussion. That brings us to item 10, identification of matters for which the meeting may be closed to the public. There are two confidential reports and one report with a confidential attachment. If there are any questions on those confidential attachments, we will need to have those items dealt with behind closed doors. Are there any questions or do any council members wish to discuss the confidential report or the attachments? So that's reports 12.5, 12.6, and the report with the confidential attachments, which is 12.13.2. Well, we have a presentation on 12.6, so we will be discussing that one. Does anyone else wish to indicate for the others? Thank you. We then move on to petitions. The city has received 2 petitions to be considered at the council meeting to be held on the 21st of April. The first one is in relation to the adoption of control timing and strategies for grass management, which will achieve both reduced seed set and reduced fire risk. A second petition has been received in relation to stopping the removal of existing play equipment from Sherrington Park in Greenwood. Have any other elected members received petitions that they would like to submit to this month's meeting? No? Thank you. We then move to the reports section of tonight's agenda. We're going to be having presentations on item 12.3, which is the community safety plan, and then item 12.6, which is the confidential project Axiom final gap analysis project plan and implementation plan. So we'll go through the agenda sequentially as we usually do. So starting on report number 12.1, are there any questions on this item? Thank you. For item 12.2, Councillor Hill.
Yes, thanks through you, Mr. Mayor. I'm referring to my PDF copy of this agenda, and I'm referring to an attachment which shows the development plans, and specifically it shows the ground floor plan and the car parking bays and the vehicles in them. My question is, to be taken on notice, I guess, is the drawing doesn't make clear the turning the entrance arrangements and the route individual vehicles should take to get into those bays. I noticed that the three bays located together, the cars are facing the wall, and in the other ones, they're facing away from the wall. So I'm just intrigued as to what the route is, the intended route of the vehicles is. I'd appreciate if that can be provided in the pack. Thank you.
Thank you. We go to the Director for Planning.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'll pass this on to the Manager of Planning.
Yep.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. So the city's assessment of the development application would have considered the manoeuvrability of vehicles into those bays, but I'm happy to provide, if we've got any further details in terms of turning templates in the pack, if we have those.
Thank you. Councillor Hill.
Yes, thank you. The reason for the question is on projects of this nature, it's quite often a contentious issue, the parking bay arrangements. So I think it's worthwhile having a look at what the plan is there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hill. Any further questions on this item? No? We'll then move to item 12.3, where there is a presentation from the Director. Director, when you're ready.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. The Council tonight are being asked to endorse the City of Joondalup Community Safety Plan. The purpose of the Community Safety Plan is to provide a coordinated framework for how the City delivers community safety. It brings together mainly existing services that include rangers and compliance, animal management, safety patrols and prevention initiatives. The plan formalises and strengthens what the City is already doing well. The plan was informed by a number of things, mainly the established community priorities, the existing programmes and services, along with analysis of local crime and safety data. This, taken together, identified the priority areas. Relevant legislation was also examined to ensure alignment with broader government objectives. The consultation of this plan has been ongoing. The initial consultation was undertaken through the Your Community Initiative in 2022, where the Strategic Community Reference Group identified community safety as a high priority. The outcomes then informed the safety priorities reflected in the Strategic Community Plan. A minor review of the Strategic Community Plan took place in 2024-2025. It tested the original Strategic Community Plan outcomes and confirmed that the community's priorities around safety remained valid. For further accuracy, relevant City business units were consulted in November 2025 to confirm that all listed initiatives and actions remain current and aligned with future objectives. Added to this, the results from recent customer satisfaction surveys that were undertaken recently demonstrated that the community are generally satisfied with the community safety service. There was 83% of residents stated that they were satisfied with the services in 2023, and 81.5% of residents were satisfied with the service in 2025. The result is the evidence tells us that the community are generally satisfied with the current safety initiatives. And what we have here is a plan that reflects confirmed community priorities and supports the continued delivery of effective safety services. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Are there any questions on the plan? Thank you. Councillor Gould.
Thank you. I think this is really helpful framework, and I can see the intent here to take a broad sort of view of community safety, but I just had a few questions around, firstly, sort of alignment with the public health plan. There appears to be some sort of overlap between the public health plan currently in development, particularly in areas like the environment and health. So are you able to clarify for me how these two documents are intended to sort of work together and how any duplication can be avoided?
Thank you, Councillor. Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor. We're still working on the health plan. Obviously, it was sent out as a green paper. I'll take it on notice so that I can refresh my memory of both, but there will be overlaps. If it's concerning community safety, there will be a number of plans that will sit under this plan as actions, and there might be some overlap. Do you have anything specific?
Yeah, there was some other overlap too. I get what you mean, like the dog management plan and everything kind of overlaps in there. Something that sort of jumped out to me here too is in the implementation section, there was a wide range of activities are grouped together. Like, for example, environment and health includes reference to immunisation alongside inspections and compliance activities. And I just wanted some clarity on what the city's specific role is in something like immunisation. I thought that was something we don't have anything to do with anymore, how that sits with this.
Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor. I'll have to take that on notice and I'll get back to you with a more concise
I thought it
answer.
might have just accidentally been put in there or a leftover sometimes.
It might well have
from
been, yeah.
when we had those clinic things. Yeah. And then, sorry, am I able to keep going? Yeah.
Yep.
Just
Questions?
tell me if I'm around. Thank you. Thank you for your patience with me, my first time. What else did I have? Oh, yeah. So there are other crossovers as well with the dog management, weed management, that sort of stuff. Is there a consistent kind of framework for how those related plans and strategies are included or referenced? Like that's probably not a very clear question, was it? Let me see if I can. No, it's okay. I guess I'm wanting to see also how to be a bit more explicit in like environmental health, like concerns such as beach water quality and stuff in the weed management plan with chemical use and stuff. Is that things that, I mean, how detailed is this going to get?
Thank you, Councillor. Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor. I'm not sure just now, but I think the environmental component of the community safety plan was around pool inspections rather than anything to do with coastal environmental issues.
So,
Councillor.
but we're sort of referencing environmental health and stuff as well in here, aren't we? Okay.
I think, Councillor, just to answer a bit of it, the environmental health functions for the city is more than just pool inspections. It also includes noise regulation assessments under the EPA Act, pest control, food inspections as well. Yep.
Yeah.
Councillor.
And there was one last one about the social connection and practical actions. I also note that the plan recognises the importance of social connection in supporting community safety. Could you maybe clarify how that translates into specific actions, specifically supporting establishment of local clubs' activities, or whether we could sort of strengthen that in the implementation section of that?
Thank you, Councillor. Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor. We haven't actually got to that level of detail yet, but it would be around bringing together groups through the education of those groups. And obviously it's been proven over time that social connection helps people feel safe, and being part of a group or a community group can enforce that safety. So there will be some actions. This is the overall plan, so there'll be some actions and probably more detail coming out regarding those actions. And some of these initiatives are already taking place within the community. You know, there are groups formed that promote that social inclusion and safety.
So it's open to be added to as we go along, is that it?
It can be amended as
It
we
can be
go,
am-
and it'll be reported through the quarterly reports and through the corporate business plan and updated over time. But if an issue comes up or anything's reported, it's flexible enough that initiatives can be added into it.
Okay. I guess I was just sort of looking for the clarity on what the city delivers, regulates and supports and how the roles sort of overlap, but maybe that's something I'm still learning too, perhaps, so, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Fishwick.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. On page 68, under the section "What we plan on doing," it states that for CCTV framework, a new policy to outline principles and standards to guide our management of CCTV cameras in public spaces. Whilst the intention of the proposed policy is commendable, can I be advised of on how many mobile CCTV cameras and poles we have? Because there was an issue late last year where a camera was placed in Reuven Place in Duncraig due to some very serious antisocial behaviour, and it was removed due to it being dysfunctional and needed replacement. And then there was another one relocated, and we're trying to get one back into Reuven Place, and the police were anxious for us to do that. So how many CCTV cameras are we going to have to be able to monitor and develop this policy so it actually is able to assist our community?
Thank you. Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I don't have the exact number here. Just from looking myself, it looks as if we have about 300 CCTV cameras just now. And the purpose of the policy that the report talks about is, I suppose, to provide input into the development. So that it's going to the CRG to discuss the policy and to see what they want to investigate. But essentially, it's just to look at the priorities, to explore the community perspectives on the city's use of the CCTV, to identify and prioritise any key matters that should be addressed in a CCTV policy. And I suppose to understand the community's expectations and preferences regarding the purposes. But I can get back to you on the total amount of
That would be
CCTV.
appreciated through you, Mr. Mayor. Did you say 300? Because
I'm just
I
doing a
was struggling
rough
to get one into Duncraig in Reuven Place due to some serious issues.
I think Councillor Fishwick is looking for the number of mobile CCTV
Yes.
cameras rather than the number of fixed.
Yeah. Through you, Mr. Mayor, we had 3, but I think 2 have been taken out of service now.
The follow-up part of that question through you, Mr. Mayor, was are we now going to budget for some more in this current budget? And I thought if some have reached the end of their useful life, they would be replaced as an asset replacement due to it, like an IT equipment. It's only going to last so many years, and you then replace that asset when it's no longer useful.
Director. Director Humphrey.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I will take the question notice to provide the exact details. At this stage, what I can recall is those 3 cameras were purchased using a state government grant contribution as a part of an election commitment from the 2021 election, if I remember correctly. We didn't plan at the time on replacing them. They were a trial, and based on how long they last, we would then consider whether or not we would put them into the permanent asset mix to be replaced. But I'll take the question on notice. I'll provide how long the cameras lasted, and we can look at that as a part of the budget workshop process.
Thank you. Just for one final question, Mr. Mayor, it was mentioned about the dog management plan, and can we be advised of a date when council will consider that? Because there is a huge amount of community interest in that plan being presented to council to assist our community. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go to the Acting Director for Infrastructure, Mr. Hamling.
Thank you for the question. Through you, Mr. Mayor, we are going to May strategy session to provide some context on where we are with the plan and seek some guidance from elected members in regards to public open space and how that may be used. And with that, the information to go back to finalise the plan in Q1 next financial year.
Thank you, Acting Director. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bishwick. Councillor Hutton.
Thank you. In the report, it references page 59 of the agenda pack. One of the items that it's anticipated the plan will help to facilitate is an informed community. I'm just curious, given there's such a large overlap in community safety, and given the main responsibility of community safety actually sits with high levels of government, and I'm thinking particularly state government, policing and the like, how do we plan to make sure the community is informed around what is the role of local government in community safety and what is the role of the state government, so there's not any confusion?
Thank you. Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor, thank you for the question. I don't have that level of detail yet, but I can get back to you. I'll take it on notice and I'll get back to you.
Thank you. Councillor Hutton.
Yeah, that's fine. Just following on from that, just a couple of questions, again, in regard to that same type of topic about levels of responsibility. Obviously, when a lot of people think of community safety, they'll very often think of policing, and I know one of the key stakeholders listed in the report is the state government. Then obviously the police is listed as a subset of the state government. I'm just curious about how, as part of this plan, through stakeholder engagement, we might actually be looking to advocate. And I look at advocacy, obviously there's general crime. There's obviously a big issue in the community when it came to e-scooters, for example, where there was a one-off program ran in a short period to try and address that. But where does the plan actually see us going in an advocacy perspective to make sure that those who are generally responsible for the safety of a community, which again, outside of the areas of local government, I think most people comes to mind it's the state government responsibility. How are we going to? Does the plan touch on that? You know, do we expect the plan to achieve something in an advocacy space and actually get some deliverables from the state government?
Thank you, Councillor. Director.
Thank you. Through you, Mr Mayor. The advocacy piece I see, and I'll relate your answer back to the e-scooters. In relation to e-scooters, we know the state set the legislation and the police are the legislators, they enforce it. But we can advocate for change through local government. We can ask the minister for to prohibit e-scooters in certain land within the town centre. Say, for instance, if it's busy with pedestrians, and we can put signage up. We can't enforce people that go against those rules, but we can direct them to move away. There's also a way of advocating it on council-owned land. So if we have parks, as long as it's not a public road, if we have parks or land owned by the local government, again, we are free to put signs up prohibiting people on e-scooters. We can't enforce it. The field officers can tell people to move away from the area, but we are not the enforcers. So I see us advocating through issues that maybe crop up, and we will be the advocates for that issue. And then the rest, I think, will be through the education piece and trying to educate the public and educate the youths on what's acceptable within the city of Joondalup. But I see the advocacy piece being on a as-needs basis, depending on issues that crop up in certain areas.
Councillor Hutton.
Yeah, thank you. And then just on that again, I'm just trying to work out the intersection between local government responsibility and then state government responsibility. So one of the areas of focus here is the regional homelessness plan. And it says aligned to key focus area, it says safe spaces, informed community members. And it talks about providing the circumstances where people have the optimum opportunity to improve their circumstances. Obviously homelessness and homelessness services very much lie at a state government level. I'm just curious why maybe as a local government our focus isn't on, for example, making sure there is more housing and doing that by having a planning framework that allows a mixed use sizes of developments across suburbs, for example. Have we actually considered tying in homelessness to the root cause, which is actually the provision of homes, which is obviously falls into a central planning of local government, because very often the state government will blame local governments for the lack of housing. So is there actually an opportunity here, and have we considered actually tying in the provision of more housing and having a flexible planning framework that allows more houses to be constructed is actually the solution to homelessness, given it's the lack of housing that causes homelessness?
Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor. As you're aware, we're undertaking a local planning strategy just now, which will be having a look at housing, reviewing the housing requirements, and hopefully providing a variety of different housing for the area. The community safety plan will not be dealing with that. It's two different documents, but they both feed into the overall framework, the planning framework.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hill.
Yes, thanks through you, Mr. Mayor. I'm looking at the last page of this document, which seems to be page 19 of the document. And specifically, there is a project and initiative on what we plan on doing, which is High Visibility Community Patrol Programme, which is scheduled to take place during the current financial year and the next financial year. I would like a response in the pack, a detailed response in the pack, to highlight what these new operational programme is regarding high visibility community patrols, but I would appreciate some brief comments, if possible, right at this briefing session. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's just exactly what it says. I don't have much more detail than that. I'll take it on notice and give you a more concise answer. But it's just, from what I understand, it's focusing on the key areas where there's known issues and making the field officers more visible in those areas. So for instance, if you know that there's a problem in a certain park or near a certain beach path, then we'll focus more, we'll make the field officers more visible in that area to deter crime. I can provide more details, but yeah, it's just more about where the field officers going at certain times.
Councillor.
Yeah, so just to reflect on that, it is a new operational programme, so any guidance we can be given as to what's actually new in the pack would be appreciated. Can I just, as a follow-up request, has this new operational programme already commenced? Thank you.
Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's down for 2025-2026, so that's telling me it's an existing programme, but I can get you more detail on that.
Councillor.
Yeah, just the question is prompted by the title of what we plan on doing, so just be very interested in seeing what the new components of this operational programme are. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further questions? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just following from the queries from Councillor Fishwick, that particular location in Ruthven. In terms of the engagement with stakeholders and the state government, what engagement could we factor in here about them not putting, I suppose, so many apartments in one place into a particular use, which creates a pressure point? We're talking about creating a safe space for all the residents around that particular building. How do we look to engage with the state to change their practices?
Thank you. Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Do you mean the practices as in requiring more density?
Using a high-density building to house, I suppose, people who are at risk, so you end up with a building that's got drug dealing, physical assaults, and a whole range of other risk activities. And that's obviously tenants placed by one of the state departments. So instead of us dealing with the police to act upon these, what are we doing proactively to have those departments who are placing their tenants there change their practices to make the community safe?
Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Any social issues are a matter for the police, not for state government. If there's a social issues in an apartment block or in a residential area, it's a matter for the police to deal with. I'm not sure what you're asking in terms of how we would speak to the state government department to rehouse people somewhere else or not put them there in the first place.
Deputy Mayor.
In that particular building, who would be the landlord of all those tenants?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure who would be the landlord.
So if we
What,
determine...
are you speaking about a building in particular?
At Ruthven in Duncraig, where we've had to place this camera to help monitor activities there. So if we have a building that's tenanted purely by one of the state departments, and there's risk factors from having so many tenants of in one location as opposed to spreading them out across a wider area, are we in a position to engage with them to say, why don't you change how you place tenants across the suburbs?
Director?
Sorry, I'll take that question on notice.
Any further questions on the plan? I just have one or two myself. And it's to do with the ongoing programs and activities under the plan and the level of service that's intended to be delivered under the plan. The key focus areas, for example, safe spaces. We want our community to feel safe from physical harm and live and visit work neighbourhoods free from crime. As far as what is the level of service under this plan that we're expecting, I know it talks about having field patrols, community amenity, and other types of ongoing ongoing activities and programs. But what exactly is the level of service that's intended to be provided? Because that seems to be quite broad. So if we're saying that's our goal, what is actually the target? Director?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, can you repeat the start of that question?
Yeah, sure, that's all right. I guess I'm trying to, when I look at the key focus areas and how they're stated in the plan, so on page 12 of the plan, it says three key focus areas. One is safe spaces, and it says our community want to feel safe from physical harm and live, visit and work in neighbourhoods free from crime. So I guess I'm trying to understand what is the level of service, so for the city's functions and the services that it provides, what is the level of service that's going to be provided under each of these programs and activities? Because it's quite broad to say, well, we'll have field patrols and community amenity, or we will enforce the local laws, we'll ensure we've got appropriate local laws, we will ensure that there's litter collection, prevent illegal dumping, graffiti removal. But what's actually the level of service which we're targeting in the plan is an appropriate level to meet that outcome? Did we look at that when we developed the plan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I think that will be the next level of this plan, is to actually look at some measurable outcomes, how we're going to implement it and how we're going to measure it going forward. But just now, yeah, it does sound more strategic and wide-ranging.
Yeah, thank you. Is it possible that I could get some indication about what type of measurements the city has already against some of these key focus areas as they relate to the strategic community plan or otherwise? I know we have the dashboard and we do look at things like swimming pool inspections, and there's other types of inspections, and there's other types of work that's reported under that. But I guess for me is that if we're saying we want the community to feel safe and visit neighbourhoods free from crime, I guess that's setting a particular standard. I guess I'm wondering how we're measuring that and what standard we're targeting. Mr. Tempriccio.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think in terms of, as the Director has indicated, the key performance measures, it's not included in a plan, but that's under item 13.1.3, which is the performance measures framework presentation, and I think those performance measures and the framework will capture the key performance indicators under that framework. I don't know if the Director governs the strategy has got something to add to that.
Director?
Through Mr. Mayor, nothing really in addition, but the Council did adopt a set of organisational measures and a set of measures in relation to the strategic community plan and success factors in relation to efficiency and effectiveness of those. So there are a range of measures which are proposed to be measured against community safety because it's against the key themes of the strategic community plan. We intend to, for the 25-26 annual report, provide assessment of those particular measures. There are already measures within the annual report which could be referred to in relation to community safety, but there's also an intention to provide the organisational effectiveness and efficiency measures to the Audit and Risk Committee twice per year, and I expect that the first set of those will be presented in Q1 of 26-27. But there is an attachment within the agenda which has been presented to the Audit and Risk Committee recently, which talks about those organisational measures and the targets and trends and the datas and the collection frequencies as well, if that assists.
Thank you, Director. I guess my question also, the reason why I draw the focus in on key focus area 1, safe spaces, is it talks about we want a community to feel safe from physical harm and live, visit and work in neighbourhoods free from crime. But when we put together the performance measures and the performance measures that are in the report for 13.1.3, we focused on measures which were within the control of the local government, not ones which were not. Here we have the key focus area which speaks about being free from crime, and we're not having performance measures for the city or under the strategic community plan about levels of crime. And then for a lot of those other outcomes that are in 13.1.3 and that item on tonight's agenda, they wouldn't target a number of these other similar types of programs. So I guess I'm trying to understand, what is the level of free from crime this plan is intending to reach, or what is the level of at least the feeling from the community, given it says we want the community to feel safe, that we're targeting. So is there a community satisfaction target that we're aligning to this? I guess to Director Parry or to Mr. Temporary CEO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think as the Director of Planning and Community Development has highlighted in the presentation she did to Council, the Community Perception Survey provides that, and I think it was 83% in 2023 and 81% in 2025, correct me if I'm wrong. So I think that is part of that feeling of it's safe, and that's surveyed through the perception survey.
Thank you. And then just following on a question asked from Councillor Gould, it was on page 13 of the plan itself under environmental health, and it says about inspections and assessments relating to immunisation food. Do we actually do inspections and assessments relating to immunisation? Because I know we had an immunisation clinic that was discontinued, so the state government could take over that function. But I'm just not sure that we have inspections and assessments relating to immunisation. Is that correct, or Director?
I'm not sure. I'll have to check and take that on notice.
Sure.
I think it might just be an error. I don't think we monitor immunisation anymore.
Yep.
I think you're correct.
Thank you. I'll finish there, and I'll probably follow up about some of the performance measures as well. Does anybody else have any questions on the plan? No, thank you. We then move to item 12.4, execution of documents. Item 12, those are two confidential items. Item 12.7, status of council decisions. No. Item 12.8, minutes of regional council meetings. Item 12.9, which is appointment to representatives of council-created committees. I have already asked the administration for an alternate to represent the two committees which Councillor Mercer and Councillor Gould are intending to be on. Would you like to announce the meeting which Councillor Gould or Mercer, which committees you're intending to be on? Councillor Mercer?
Thank you, Mayor. Moving forward, Councillor Gould will be doing the, sorry, I've missed it, major projects and finance and policy committees. And I'll be doing the CEO performance review and audit and risk.
Thank you, Councillor Mercer. Any further questions on item 12.9? Thank you. Item 12.10, the Walger submission. I will be putting an alternate to the council meeting on this one. As discussed at the strategy session, it's to amend some of the wording that the draft submission itself will be advocating to the extent of the local government's responsibility to ensure that there's funding and policy guidance for what is now the responsibility under what is now the requirements under the Local Government Act to consider and plan for the risks associated with climate change. Does anyone else have any questions on this item? Thank you. Moving to item 12.11, list of payments. Councillor Chester.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have quite a few. Looking at the report, page 156, tree removal, including stump $6,600. I'm just wondering whether that's a single tree or multiple trees.
Director Humphrey.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'll have to retrieve the invoice and provide that detail in the pack. It does look rather expensive, but it might be a high-risk tree.
Thank you. Councillor Chester.
Yes, there's an expenditure here for the Craigie Leisure Centre of $53,600, but no mention of what it relates to. So if I could have information on that, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you. Director.
If I can, through you, can you just clarify which page number and the company name, please?
Councillor Chester.
I didn't catch that, I'm sorry.
Sorry. If you could clarify which page of the agenda you're referring
sorry,
to,
yes,
and then
I
the
should have
company
done
name
that.
as well.
Yes, page 161, towards the bottom of the page.
Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, Brightmark is the cleaning contractor for Craigie Leisure Centre. That's the monthly cleaning fees for the centre.
Thank you.
Councillor.
Yes, pure storage renewal, that's page 167, over $250,000, $262,000. I didn't know managing our data was that expensive. If you could elaborate on that, I'd appreciate it, please.
Thank you, Councillor. Director.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I will have to take that one on notice and provide the details.
Thank you, Director. Councillor.
Yes, and the last one. Overleaf membership, that's on page 191. And once again, a rather expensive exercise, $204,000 for that membership. Details, if you wouldn't mind.
Thank you, Councillor. Director.
Halfway down the page, 191.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think someone has literally, one of the staff has inserted the text description. That's part of our insurance renewal.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Page 164, Civic Legal. The first invoice, Legal Services, July 2025. Just curious, is that dates correct? And if so, why would the invoice take 7 months to pay?
Thank you. Director.
Through Mr. Mayor, I will have to take that one on notice. It may well be that it's the wrong date has been, sorry, pardon me, wrong date's been entered, but I will retrieve the invoice and check and provide answers.
Councillor.
And the next page, page 165, Committee, so CEDA, Committee for Economic Development, Higher Education Pathways, 10,450. Thank you.
Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'll have to take that one on notice. I'm not familiar with that particular payment.
Thank you. Councillor May.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just two from me. The first one is on page 165, Commercial Aquatics Australia. There's 3 payments, but I'm just querying the first one for 60,240. Just wondering what that's for and whether that's a recurring payment or one-off.
Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's a one-off payment. The Craigie Leisure Centre plant room is approaching the end of its useful life in the next 5 years, and that's the contractors that we brought in to assess the plant room and provide maintenance and repair options for the city.
Councillor.
Thank you. Just my second question just relates to the answer to one of Councillor Chester's questions around the monthly cleaning bill for Craigie Leisure Centre. Could I have like some basic detail around that? Just, it seems like a lot of money for 1 month.
Thank you, Councillor. Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the Craigie Leisure Centre is cleaned 7 days a week. Early hours of the morning, there is, I think, 3 different sets of toilets and change rooms that require cleaning. Also requires the cleaning of both pool decks and the sports facilities. So yes, it is expensive, but that's tendered every 3 years, and that's the best price we could get.
Thank you. Councillor? No, that's right. Any further questions? Councillor Count.
Yes, thank you. Just a couple. One on the rubbish collection. I understand we have a domestic collection of 300,000 a month, but there's 3 payments in there for 31, 21 and 27,000 that are just location of stray bin and return to resi. Is that a lot of bins we're going back to have a look at?
Thank you, Councillor. Director?
Yeah, through Mr Mayor, I will retrieve the invoice on that one and provide the specifics of what's on that invoice. And I will also just remind Council that we look at the waste services part of Budget Workshop 4 coming up at the end of April.
Excellent.
Councillor?
And one other on page 220. Basically, the bottom half of the page is solar panel servicing for a $690 fee. It's about 15 of them. As far as I'm aware, there's no legislative requirement to service solar panels, but also most of those systems would be sort of 5 and 10 kilowatts. So that $700 fee would be eating up basically 40% of the electricity that they'd be producing. That's all. Thanks.
Director?
Mr Mayor, we'll take it on notice, but there are several very large solar arrays the city has on the library, Craigie Leisure Centre, Works Operations Centre, and this building itself. And I believe the service includes cleaning the panels to make sure they're operating as efficiently as they can. But I will take the question on notice and provide details in the packs.
Thanks. Perhaps there's a minimum fee, so the smaller systems cop that fee. Thanks.
Thank you. Any further questions on the list of payments? Councillor Pizzey?
Yes, thank you. On page 165, we've got a $7,260 Committee for Perth annual fee. Can I just get some information on what the city gets for that registration and being a part of the Committee for Perth? I don't mind receiving that in the pack if that's better.
Thank you. Director?
Through you, Mr Mayor, we'll provide further detail in the pack, but as an initial response, by being a member of the Committee for Perth, the city does get to send representatives to various economic development forums and activities, and there is the opportunity to network with other people promoting tourism in the city of Perth.
Thank you. Any further questions? Thank you. I just have one or two from myself as well. I lost the page for one of them, so I'll probably have to refer that one. But the payment for Nige Jones for the meeting fee for February, the meeting fees for elected members are paid on a pro rata basis. So just checking that the meeting fee, which is paid for the month of February that's in the list of payments, is correct and is pro rata down to the date of the last day in which he served.
Through Mr Mayor, yes, I believe they are pro-rated, but we will check that payment and provide that confirmation.
Yep. Thank you. And then I had a question as well, but I can't find the exact page, which was for the University of Western Australia and the money which was for the partnership for the Biodesign conference, I think it was. If I could get that one taken on notice.
Through you, Mr Mayor, yes, I'll take that on notice and we'll provide that information in the pack.
Yep. That's all right. Any further questions? No. In that case, we'll move to the next item on tonight's agenda. That then brings us to item 12.12, the financial activity statements. Any questions? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Page 248, under employee costs, section B, one of the unfavourable variances is fringe benefits tax, $50,000. Could we get some clarity on why that additional FBT was incurred versus budget, and what is our total FBT payable?
Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I haven't been briefed on that particular return. I will take the question on notice and provide detailed explanation in the packs.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor. Any further questions on the financial activity statement? No? Thank you. We then move to item 12.13, the community funding programme. Any questions on this one? Councillor Hill.
Yes, thanks. Just through you, Mr Mayor, before I ask a question on this item, there was earlier commentary on a confidential attachment other than the confidential items. Can I just check which agenda item the confidential attachment was in?
It was for item 1213, which is this item as well. So this is questions on the non-confidential elements, of course.
I don't believe I'll be steering into confidential territory, but I will ask some questions on this item, and it really relates to Curate Arts Incorporated proposal for a talent show / Eisteddfod. I do have a number of questions on this. I think it would be helpful to elected members if we can ask the city officers or directors to provide in the pack a description of the rationale and differences between this event and the Young Musician of the Year competition. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that they're completely different. One's an Eisteddfod stroke talent show and the other is a very different event. I think it'd be worthwhile having a description of the differences and especially the rationale for these. Could that be done in the pack, please?
Thank you. Director?
Through Mr Mayor, yes, happy to provide that in the packs, but in summary, Young Musician of the Year is specifically targeted at very high-performing musicians, up-and-coming musicians who are looking to have professional careers in the music industry. This particular project is more aimed at getting people participating at a community level, so they have very different target audiences.
Yes, thank you. I do have another couple of questions. I note that this proposal is seeking to address what's perceived to be a gap identified by Curate Arts Incorporated in the city's programme, which brings me to mind, and you know, I'm supportive of performing arts in the community, and I'll generally be supportive of this proposal. But given that this is a one-off event with city funding, is there any implied continuity of this event, and therefore would any continuity of this event in subsequent years also be requiring a similar contribution from the city? Thank you.
Director?
Through Mr Mayor, typically we don't fund recurring events using this particular grant program. Curate Arts Incorporated are looking to establish this kind of event as a more common thing to occur within the community. I think they've taken some motivation from the Common People Dance of Eisteddfod that the city includes as part of its Joondalup Festival, but we are seeing, and part of the motivation for including that particular event in the Joondalup Festival is we're seeing this type of event take off across Australia. So I think they definitely intend it to be recurring. They may seek sponsorship from the city or future funding support, but we wouldn't typically fund that from this grant program.
Councillor?
Thank you. And my final question, through Mr Mayor, is relating to the fact that the City of Joondalup previously had an Eisteddfod that they organised annually, which was terminated a number of years ago. I wonder if we could have just an idea of the cost of that event that the city put on over the last, say, 3 years of that project in the pack, just so as we understand a comparison, what it was costing the city to organise those Eisteddfods compared with this particular one. Thank you.
Thank you. Director?
Through you, Mr Mayor, happy to take that question on notice and provide an answer in the pack.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Hutton?
Yeah, just in regards to the 7 programmes which were, I believe, approved under a delegated authority, I was just wondering if information could be provided with those as part of the pack.
Mr Temporary CEO, but I think they were already as part of the desk of the CEO circulated this last week. Yeah. Director?
Through you, Mr Mayor, yes, typically we provide that information through the desk of the CEO.
Yeah. Councillor? No, that's all right. Any further questions? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So just seeking clarity on the question from Councillor Hutton. Whilst we've got details around those grants under delegation, are we able to be provided copies of their applications?
Director?
Yeah, through Mr Mayor, yes, I'm happy to provide copies of the applications in the packs, or a link to them where we might be able to put them on the elected members portal just to save and the cost of sending them out.
Thank you.
Thank you. And as a follow-up to the Director's response on the Eisteddfod, has the city considered and looked at that when the application came in and thought as an option perhaps they might review that as part of a potential Joondalup Festival item instead of being run at a different time? Yep.
Director?
Through Mr Mayor, the ideal scenario for the city officers' point of view is if there's a community group that establishes itself and runs these types of events for the community, by the community. That's what we ideally aim for. So if the festival's been successful in sparking that interest and getting this happening at a community level, that would be a good start. We would if it gets going, definitely something we could look at including in a future festival. Perhaps having a final or a particular show put on by the groups is something we would seek to achieve.
Deputy Mayor? No? Any further questions on this item? Thank you. We then move to the report of committee section for the Audit and Risk Committee. So item 13.1.1, any questions on this item? 13.1.2, 13.1.3. No. In that case, we'll then move to the, we've done reports committees. Any reports from the Chief Executive Officer?
None at this stage, Mr. Mayor.
Any items of urgent business at this point?
None, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. In that case, we'll then move to a confidential session for item 12.6, Project Axiom. I believe we have a presentation on that item. Thank you. Returning then to item 16, motions of which previous notice have been given. I've included 2 notices of motion for the next council meeting. The first one, just for the record, is requesting Main Roads to conduct traffic modelling and analysis. The second one is looking at improvement options for Trappers Drive and Woodvale Drive. Are there any other elected members who wish to flag their intention to raise a notice of motion for the next? Well, actually, no, you can't. But for the meeting in May, not for April, but for May. No. In that case, we can close the meeting then at 8:34 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for attending. You can see we're going.